Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Recently we did a video about all the teams ranked from number 30 to number 1 in the last 4 years for best winning percentage. This is similar, but not even really kind of close. It isn't, but it's not. Average team standings. So over the last 4 years, we took the average team standings of every team and put them in a list, 30 to 1.
So the points gained by each team.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool.
So it's all about average here. And we're going to go from number 30 to number 1, worst to best. And we're going to try and go through this pretty quickly. You don't want to spend a lot of time. But so let's just start at number 30, and that's the Buffalo Sabres. They've averaged 66 points per year in the last 4 years. So that's...
And that's, with the average minimum point value for entry into the playoffs being around 95, 96, that's 30 points shy.
It's not even close, unfortunately. Wow. It's really unfortunate, especially for the Buffalo fans. But there's some interesting teams in here because some of these teams near the bottom have done really well recently, and recently as in the last year.
Right.
And some of these teams have had really good years and 3 poor years, like Colorado.
Cool.
So next is on the list, number 29 is Arizona with 73 points. So that's a significant jump from 66 to 73. That average is 73. So pretty, like it's, I wouldn't really consider Arizona to be better than Buffalo in the past 4 years. But there's a difference there between the average points per season. So I don't know. Number 28 is Edmonton. Oh, this is the example.
Yes.
Did very well last year.
Yeah.
The 3 years prior, not so well. They've averaged 76 points per year in the last 4 years.
So if you took the last season out of that mix, they're a lot lower.
Yes, they would be lower, maybe even last.
Maybe. Wow.
Number 27, the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've averaged 79 points per season in the last 4 years.
Really?
So again, one of those teams that had a fairly decent year last year.
Yeah.
And 3 poor years previous.
It's funny, like my sense of it all is that Toronto was always in the playoff discussion even into the last weekend, which means that I would think they would have, in the low 90s of points, but obviously not. My memory's not very good.
You are getting old. Number 26, the New Jersey, 80 points they've averaged. This one shocked me a little bit. I thought they'd be higher, much like you said with Toronto. I figured New Jersey would be a little higher.
Yeah.
25th is Carolina with 82. Tied with Carolina's Vancouver, also with 82. 23rd is Colorado with 83.
Really?
There's that team that had that really good 1 year.
Yeah.
And then the 3 poor years. 22 is Florida with 85. 21 is Calgary with 86. I thought they might be a little higher as well. Number 20 is Winnipeg with 87.
Oh, wow.
I was surprised to see Winnipeg was over Calgary, actually.
Yeah.
Number 19 is Philadelphia with 91. That's about where I'd probably put them.
Yeah.
Number 18 was Detroit with 91 as well.
Oh.
17 was Columbus with 92. 16 was Ottawa with 93. This surprised me a bit. Also, I would have thought that it might be a little bit lower than that. Number 15 was Dallas with 93. 14 was the Islanders with 94. 13 was Nashville with 96. 12 was Los Angeles with 96.
All right.
Minnesota with 98 in 11th spot. Montreal in 10th with 99 points per season average.
That's higher than I thought they'd have.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was lower.
Yeah.
Just by like a smidget.
Like that means on at least probably 2 or 3 of those seasons they had 100 or more, right? Which I don't.
They had that one bad year.
Yeah.
That really hurt them there.
Stinker.
Number 9 is San Jose with 99 as well. So my 2 top teams tied there with 99. Tampa Bay, 100 points. So they had an abysmal year last year. I know they kind of were turning it on near the end of the year last year, but still surprised to see their average even stay at 100 or above. So Boston, 100 points. Kind of blows my mind a little bit because they missed the playoffs just by hair. I think 2 years in a row and almost again last year.
Sometimes they're even tied in points, but they're losing the tiebreaker calculation.
Yeah, to see them in 7th, that's actually quite impressive.
It is.
Number 6, the Rangers with 103.
Okay.
Pretty good average.
Yep.
Number 5 is Chicago with 105. No shocker there.
No shock.
Pittsburgh also with 105 in 4th. No shocker there. St. Louis with 106. Now, when we were doing this with the winning percentage,
they were the best.
St. Louis was the best. They were number 1. They had the best winning percentage.
They were over 60%. The only team over 60, weren't they?
I think they... No,
something like that.
I think they're the only team over 80 or something like that.
Okay.
I don't.
Well,
Go watch
they were very good. Yeah. Watch the reruns.
So St. Louis is in third here with 106 points average.
Okay.
Here's where the difference of winning percentage and average points comes into play. Both two important stats, but it's interesting to look at the two and see the discrepancies. Number 2 is Washington with an average of 107 points. No shock there.
Well, no shock. I would have thought they were number 1. Now I'm trying to think of who we haven't talked about yet.
Who do you think? Well, it's Anaheim.
Oh,
108 points
should have checked
average
that out.
in the last 4
Really?
years, which doesn't really surprise me. They've been such a strong team, but I wouldn't have picked them to be number 1. I would have assumed Washington.
Me too.
Just like in the plus minus video, I would have assumed that Washington would have been number 1 or not plus minus.
Percentage.
Winning percentage, yeah.
Yeah.
I would have figured that Washington would be number 1 in winning percentage. And again, I've been shocked. Anaheim has taken the throne here. So, very
Interesting.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's always fun to go through these statistic videos and see, what teams, because we have a mindset of what teams are good and what teams are bad, and sometimes we're shocked a little bit when we look at some of these stats. Like Edmonton being in 28th, we're a bit blinded by the season that just happened because Edmonton did so well.
Yeah.
But it's hard to forget all those bad years.
It is. Every time we do a show like this, and I really like them because I'm surprised.
You always learn something new.
Somewhere.
Even if it's just something little, you always learn something. Yeah.
Unfortunately, these stats are all looking back. We can't have any that look forward. If they were, I'd be right down to the lottery booth and start filling stuff out.
Yeah.
But, and none of them tell the tale of what's going to happen. But it's very, very interesting. And I think kind of like the movie Moneyball, which was about baseball.
Yeah.
If you look at all the stats and if you have a secret way of massaging your players' entry and exit from games and lineups and stuff and put people in and out, who knows? I think for hockey they haven't found it yet. But.
Well, if you look at Florida, they're a team that's all about analytics and statistics. They were in 22nd, averaging 85 points. So obviously it's not working there.
Yeah.
But teams on this list, like Buffalo with 66 points, Carolina with 82, those are two teams that I could see maybe on that bubble making the playoffs.
Better days ahead for both.
Yeah, Carolina is one of those teams that really could. I feel like I could go on a run. I think I said this in a recent video. I don't remember what video it was. I feel like Carolina, if they snuck in, or even Buffalo, they're such an underdog. I think they have enough spirit to maybe go on that run, kind of like Ottawa did this year.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see.
And, I'm obviously an older person when it comes to the majority likely of viewers and people that are also on your show, the other guys. But I remember back into the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s when teams today that are powerhouses were junk back then. And teams that were really powerhouses, like Colorado is a good example, powerhouses back then, and Detroit, not that long ago, are, on the lower end of some of these.
Yeah, I mean, look at look at Chicago.
Yeah.
For so
Perfect
long,
example.
they were terrible.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, they almost went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Crosby basically saved the franchise and revitalized the whole what's going on in Pittsburgh since he came in. So.
And I think that's encouraging to every fan that's out there.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
And even for fans of teams that haven't won in a long time, like the New York Rangers, Montreal Canadiens, and Toronto Maple Leafs, obviously, and other teams that have never won yet, despite getting so close many times. St. Louis, is a good example of that. Hockey, the ebb and flow of hockey is cyclical, and it swings back and forth like a pendulum.
Yep.
And one of these days, the pendulum's going to pick up your team and take them somewhere.
Exactly. It almost happened to Nashville this year.
Yep.
I mean, It's crazy. Now, I'm going to ask you, take St. Louis, who's in 3rd, okay? Now take Toronto, who's in 27th. Of those two teams, who would you pick to win the Stanley Cup next year?
Toronto.
I would too.
Yeah.
I would too. That's
because it's about next time, not last time.
Exactly. That's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah.
It's fun to look back, but it doesn't tell the tale of what's to come. So, it's interesting.
It is.
Thank you guys very much for joining us for this hopefully interesting to you conversation as well. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new to this channel, hope you hit the subscribe button and join us for lots of new videos. Otherwise, we'll see you in the future. Adios.